Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 183, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
It's going. We're back. We're back relatively sooner than we normally are for like a regular show.
Yeah, twice in 1 week. Well, we're making up for lost time.
That is true. We did whiff most of September. But
they woke us up because September ended.
That's true.
We Billy Joe'd it.
But this is going to be a busy month for us because we're going to be back very shortly to talk about Gemini Man also.
Oh, yeah.
Busy month. But of course, the big new release in theaters right now is Joker, which...
Joker? I haven't read anything about this.
I mean, to be perfect, I know you're kind of joking, but it's kind of true. Like at least for me, I basically had to mute the word Joker in all my social media.
Yeah. I guess maybe I'll save it for later, but it's been a lot.
It is. The conversation has been louder than the movie itself, so it's kind of nice to just have the film out there and be able to talk about that.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, we were curious about it as well, and we were anticipating how we would feel about it, and now it's nice to have finally seen it and be able to talk about it.
That's true. But yeah, we'll be talking about Joker in the tail end.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna save that. We're gonna let the anticipation for that conversation build up a little bit. In the meantime, have you seen anything else worth mentioning?
Well, since we recorded not that long ago, I haven't watched any more movies. Well, I did actually, but I'll mention it a little later. But I had this weird experience this week where I got an email from the Pantages Theater. I think because I saw Hamilton there like a year or two ago, and it said Blue Man Group was in town, and there was a lottery for tickets this Saturday, and I thought, hey, why the heck not? I've actually always wanted to see Blue Man Group since the late 90s or whatever, and
Right.
I never got around to seeing them, and I've always wanted to. So I just on a whim, I rarely ever do this. I entered my email, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then sure enough, the next day, I won the tickets. So I was like, well, crap. So then, I mean, that was Friday, and the show was on Saturday, and so I was trying to get someone to go with me. Oh, and it was in the middle of the afternoon, too. It was like a 2 p.m. show. And I just, for the life of me, couldn't find anyone to go with me. So I thought, well, I'm still going to go. I got to go check this out. So I show up, and they give me my ticket, and it says row A. I'm like, row A? I'm like, where's that? They're like, front row, sir, right this way. And they lead me all the way down to the front of the theater. I was like, you're kidding me. And then I'm in one of the two rows that has ponchos. I was like, oh, well, and then someone next to me says to one of the ushers, like, will we be getting wet? And she's like, most definitely. So I'm sitting there, and I was next to this elderly couple that I didn't know, obviously, and she was freaking out about the getting wet and the ponchos and everything. And I go, well, but actually this is kind of cool. We've got the best seats in the house, right? And she's like, I'll talk to you after the show. I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, so I was just sitting there, and I was just texting all these people because I was like, hey, I guess I'm at Blue Man Group front row by myself. How are you? So I texted you yesterday.
So Brian sends me this text, and it's this picture of him wearing a smock. He's like, hey, I won Blue Man Group tickets, and no one else could come, so here I am alone wearing a blue poncho. And I think I text you back. I'm like, I love every part of that story. That is the only thing that would make that more of a Brian Hall story is if you're like, and that couple invited me over for Christmas dinner, so I'll be that's the only thing missing in that story.
Right. They were very sweet. And then afterwards they had enjoyed it. And it was, I gotta say, I mean, I know everybody else in the world has already seen it, but it's a great show. It was really fun, and it was cool being in the front row, and they were walking past us all the time because there's a lot of audience participation. And yeah, I'm really glad I responded to that email. So that's what I did.
So respond to those emails, folks. That's the lesson for Brian's story.
Yeah, but never go further than your email. Any other information, probably best not to do.
Yeah, if it's like, you want Blue Man Group tickets? Meet us at midnight outside
right.
in Abandoned Park Way You know,
Right, with your social security number and yeah, a bag with a money symbol on it, filled with cash.
well,
All right.
yeah, don't do that. But congratulations to you, Brian, for
Thanks.
being able to scratch Blue Man Group off your bucket list.
Off my list, yeah.
Well, I don't have anything as exciting as that. I have seen a few things recently. Last month I watched Shawshank Redemption, and last week, and I didn't have a chance to discuss that with you.
Yeah. But how was it revisiting that?
Well, Shawshank for me is not a movie I have watched often.
Oh, okay.
And I realized upon this rewatch that this was, in fact, my second time watching it the whole way through.
Really? Oh, wow.
Kind of nuts, right?
Not that I've seen it a million times,
Yeah.
but I have seen it all the way through, I'm sure several times, and it's sort of a cable, it's on frequently.
It is a
or at least
perennial.
at point in time was.
It is to modern day cable what Beastmaster was to 1980s cable.
Well, it's funny because I didn't have cable in the 80s, so maybe that's why I'm out of the Beastmaster loop.
You never see back in the day, HBO was short for "Hey, Beastmaster's on."
Did you just make that up right now?
No, I wish I did. That's like a very common thing.
Oh my gosh! See, I'm so out of it. Okay, that's great. That is very funny though.
Yeah, it was just like a thing. So Shawshank Redemption was that. Now I wrote an article about it for the Chronicle.
Cool.
And so, for the
Which I read and is great.
Oh, thank you so much. So that was really my first time going through the whole thing, and I watched it with the kids, not realizing the disproportionate amount of prison rape there is in that film.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh yeah, I should probably fast forward this. Like I genuinely didn't realize how much of that there was, right? And it's horrifying and it's necessary for the story, but
right.
not exactly family movie night. That's my point.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of discussions.
Very much so. However, the kids were like 100% engaged in the film.
Really? Oh, that's interesting because it's I wouldn't call it a slow movie necessarily, but it's like episodic, right?
It's episodic, but it is enveloping.
Enveloping, yes.
You know, I mean,
so it's interesting that kids of that age were completely enraptured with it.
Yeah, and obviously partly this is because they're my kids and they've been exposed to a lot of films that are maybe outside of their normal purview. But I'm kind of glad of that too, because I think Shawshank is one of those movies that you should have in your Rolodex of film experiences.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
And of course they were, by the time of the escape, as we have, Tim Robbins crawling through that sewage pipe, they're like, ew, they're fully grossed out, which I just loved,
He's like vomiting in there. And,
it's, just all kinds of unbearable shit Andy Dufresne crawled through.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, there's a reason it is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, like IMDb, it's like number one on their list.
Right.
It works so well at being what it is,
Yeah, no, I entirely agree. I mean, it's firing on every cylinder. I mean, the acting, the writing, the directing, the cinematography, the music. I mean, that's just lightning in a bottle.
And of course, I mean, it's legendary now for how little money it made when it came out. It made like four nickels when it was released, and they've blamed it on a variety of factors. I would actually say that the title was the reason.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But I don't know what else you could call it. Like, that's the other thing, right?
Well, now it's a great title because everybody likes it.
Exactly.
But when you're trying to hook people, yeah, I can imagine it's a word that you look at and you have to think about it before you say it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you can imagine the notes process where they've probably got 15 generic prison type titles.
Sure.
An innocent man.
Yep.
Locked up, locked out.
Yeah. My friend Red. Seeing red. I don't know.
And I love that, by the way, that Red in the book is in fact a white Irishman.
Yes, with red hair.
And they gave the exact dialogue to Morgan Freeman, where he's like, "Why do they call you Red?" "I don't know. Maybe because I'm Irish." And you're like,
"Yeah."
Ha, ha, ha. And it's like, no, that's actually, I just love that. I love stories like that.
No, I remember the way I came into that movie was I went to like a turnabout dance. Like a girl that I worked with, so it was a different school than mine. She asked me to this turnabout dance, and we went with this big group of people. And then afterwards, you go back to a house and you order a pizza and watch movies and stuff. And I remember everyone fell asleep, and this one guy turned to me and he goes, "You have to watch this movie." And I was like, okay. So like he'd picked it. So we pop it in. Only he and I are awake for this thing. And when it was over, I was like, what was that? Like, it just blew my mind. And it was really, I mean, one of those ages too, where it was just going to stick with me the rest of my life.
Yes.
And it was funny because he was one of those people that happened to know how good it was. And it was funny that I guess that's kind of how it happened, right? Like on home video and people discovering it or showing it to people. Because, yeah, it certainly didn't happen in the theater.
And I'm wondering, like, is there room for that today? For that type of thing to happen, where a movie dies theatrically, but it finds a second life on home video. Like, I feel like our streaming experiences are so curated that it doesn't leave room for that as much.
Yeah, and I'm sure there is the exception where that's possible, but it just seems like there's so much that something will take the place of that thing. So if you don't see that thing, something else will take its place that you'll get excited about and try to tell someone else about, and they won't watch it. And there's just so much TV. There's so much TV on top of films now.
It's too much. It's too much content.
Yeah, but it's all good. So it's nice that you can find your thing. But I think it doesn't. The first thing that's coming to my mind is the movie Booksmart, which I don't know if you've seen it. I still haven't seen it. And I intend to watch it because I've heard it's so good. But it's one of those things that people were so passionate about it, but it kind of died a sad little death in the theaters. But I have a feeling that's one of those movies that people are going to continue to be passionate about and will find its audience.
Right.
Yeah. So, occasionally.
Yeah. Well, shifting gears slightly, another movie is celebrating its 25th anniversary. And this, I just watched this morning as research for another article I'm writing, and this is Stargate.
Yeah, which I feel like I'm like, yeah, Stargate, of course. But I don't think I've seen it since 1994. But somehow the iconography of it and the concept of it, like, just stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love, for me, what I always think about with Stargate is the on The Simpsons, where there's like a Stargate convention, and comic book guy is like, of the 4 Star franchises, Wars, Trek, and Search, Gate is number 3. Or something like that.
Search.
Yeah, Search. But yeah, I mean, this is a movie I truly have not revisited very much. But it was one of those things where I was like, I watch it with the kids for this one specifically because I was like, I want to experience it through their perspective because they are more the audience that will be sort of open, like less critical. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it is. I mean, it's no Shawshank.
I was gonna say. I mean, is it good? Is it good popcorn?
It's yes. That is, and that almost sounds diminutive when you say it that way. It's a good popcorn movie.
Oh, sure. Well, right. Yes, I can see that. But I guess when I think that's Roland Emmerich, right?
It is.
So when I think of Independence Day and all those things, like I say that actually with affection. Independence Day being a great popcorn flick.
Yeah, it's relatively restrained Roland. Which is my band back in high school.
I was just going to say, that should be the headline.
It's sort of like his Bad Boys to like the Rock or something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because he kind of went nuts with Independence Day, which I still like. This is relatively, I think it's more contained. Great cast, honestly. Like, you realize watching it, like having Kurt Russell and James Spader in the leads, that does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Sure.
It's not good, but it's not bad. That's what I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
So it's very much, though, it's a time capsule. And I think it was a time capsule even back then. Like, I think even in 1994, it was a throwback.
In what way? Like, it's a cornier?
Kind of a big sci-fi flick that's it's trying to evoke a prior era. It's trying to be something a little bigger than it is. It's trying to be the first Star Wars.
Sure.
In the sense, and not to say it succeeds at that, but in trying to sort of point the way towards a bigger universe while still telling a self-contained story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it for that. Having been a fan of the television series, I think the show is better for what it achieved over the course of 10 seasons.
Okay.
Which is bananas that show lasted that long.
Yeah.
Right? And then there was a spin-off that lasted 5 years, and there was another. I mean, so totally you're looking at about 17, 18 seasons of television.
Wow. Can you imagine the guy, if you write a film and you create these characters and they go on and make a TV show based on it, you get money for that.
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine the person that wrote that screenplay? Good for them.
Well, Dean Devlin.
Oh, it was Dean Devlin, huh?
It is Dean Devlin, and
good for him already, I guess.
It's interesting because he hated the television stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, they took Roland and my idea and they just turned it into a TV show. He was all dismissive, and I'm like, listen, Dean, but you're not exactly David Lean,
Right.
So anyway, but it's fun. 25 years, something you can pop on and enjoy for whatever that is worth.
Yeah.
With that, I have a letter here that I wanted to share with you.
Oh, cool.
And this is from Hamza Moin, who is my cousin, by the way.
Oh.
And first of all, he is a big fan of our interplay and the way we can just drop random Simpsons references on the show and just not skip a beat.
Me too.
and that is
fun being able to do that.
That's just us in life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how we communicate.
That's just how we roll. I tell my students in my class, I'm like, I have my closest friends, I can just talk to them in Simpsons GIFs, and we can have entire conversations.
Well, I was talking about this with someone recently, and why it helps. It almost is another language because you're saying a line that involves a lot of context.
Yes.
So you're bringing context I don't need to say.
Yes.
Right into, so I know exactly the tenor of what you're saying to me in this random sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he asks, this is a question I have to admit that I never quite thought about. He says, I notice you both are almost always in agreement with every movie. There are occasions where one of you loves a movie more than the other, usually Brian, and other occasions where one of you feels more meh about a movie than the other, usually me. But I've yet to hear about a time where you're both completely at odds about something.
So, this prompted me to think back, because I know there's been times, I remember one specifically, I still not sure is coming to my mind, where
one for sure for me is The Lone Ranger.
Yes. I feel like there was one in the last year too. I felt like surprised.
I
was
like defending that movie, by the way.
well, actually, I went back and I started looking at some of the podcasts, or the movies we were looking at, and I was trying to remember the ones that we didn't see eye to eye on, and so I actually made a list. I have a few.
Wow.
But the thing is, though, is he's not wrong. I mean, it was never like a drop down, drag out.
You
like
piece of crap.
Yeah.
It's never that.
Or it was more like, I didn't feel it as much as you, but I understand why you did, or vice versa, kind of thing.
Oh,
and
Godzilla.
so anyway,
Godzilla. That's on your list, right?
Well, I have Last Jedi, which you liked more than I did.
I did like that more than you did. Oh, that's the inverse. That rarely happens.
Yes, actually, I have a few. I have Lone Ranger next,
okay,
which you liked more than I did. Godzilla, which you liked more than I did.
This new one, the one that just came out.
Yeah, King of the Monsters. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. Aquaman, which you liked more than I did.
I did like that more than you did. Right?
Captain Marvel, which I liked more than you did.
Yes. Wow. Okay.
And then A Star is Born, which I liked more than you did.
You liked it more than I did. That's right.
Yeah. And we both didn't like The Predator.
That's true. That may be the most negative we've ever been on a movie.
That was disappointing.
Yes.
I was surprised. I was very surprised that even came from Shane Black, really. I just felt, that was
like,
too bad.
Right? I mean, we've gone negative, but I can't remember another instance where we're both like, no, this was entirely awful.
Yeah, I find, there was one other one, though, I feel like, that we really didn't like, that we thought was stupid.
I mean, we were kind of negative on Hobbs and Shaw, but not...
Yeah, but it's funny because with those, I was thinking it was a rock movie, but it's funny because the ones that we ended up like, man, that was stupid. We end up laughing.
Yes.
By the end of the discussion and being like, well, maybe there was some sort of entertainment value to
Rampage.
this. Rampage. Yeah, which it was so bad, but
yes, that was fun to talk about.
It was fun to talk about. Yeah, and it's its own form of entertainment, I suppose. If
yes.
It's yeah. few things we've been outright angry at.
I mean, I can't. I mean, obviously, Batman versus Superman was an episode that I had strong opinions that I expressed on. And I think with that one, you were more amenable to that movie than I was.
A lot of times, even with something like Suicide Squad, I think the way I come at it is I can see what they were going for.
Yes.
And sometimes I still am like, man, but I get the concept. I just wish it had worked better. So it's like I'm not feeling like, man, that sucked. I'm like, oh, what could have been?
Yes.
Yeah, I think sometimes I take on that tone, and I feel comfortable with it because I am not a film critic. I'm just your friend who likes talking about movies. So I don't feel a responsibility to have a definitive sort of feeling. But
Well, I am a film critic, Brian.
yeah, I know. It feels like some pressure to me.
One thing I always try to convey to people, and I'm sure I've said this on the show, but I'm like, a film critic's job is not to tell you how you should think. A film critic's job is to tell you why they think the way they think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully you do that as articulately as possible. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, and by the way, Suicide Squad, I think, is another one that I ended up liking more than you. That's my recollection.
Yeah, that was one I just kept. I remember I even revisited it, like really wanting to like it because I love the concept so much.
Yeah,
and it was I don't know.
They're going to have a mulligan with that concept, so you may end up. It may win you over yet.
Yeah, that's true. And then also, I mean, for people who are new to the show or whatever, I mean, I've worked in the industry for almost 15 years now, and I think I will admit, I guess I should say that I'm sure that comes into play when I'm looking at things because I've worked on movies, some that are great and some that aren't. And it's one of those things where I can't help but see from the point of view of people who are maybe too close to the thing and they thought they were doing something good and then it doesn't turn out well. And you're like, well, why didn't that turn out well? And so I think that's how I try to look at it too. Instead of just ragging on something, I'm like, well, where did this go wrong? Like, let's look under the hood a little bit. And Let's figure out what worked and what didn't and how it could have. And so I think that's where I'm coming from.
Speaking of you working in the industry, I recently saw a film that you worked on, which I'd never seen, and this is several months ago, and I just never got to mention it to you. I saw Now You See Me.
Oh, I was wondering which one it was going to be.
Yeah, and so this is a film that came out like 6 years ago, so sorry, Brian. I'm realizing as I'm saying that, I'm a really bad friend. I just never got
my
around
voice
to
is
it.
in that movie, by the way. You heard me, probably without realizing it.
Well, I thought you were in like a DVD.
I'm in.
And was it an extended scene that wasn't in the theatrical cut? Or?
On the Blu-ray, I'm in the director's cut as a newscaster.
Okay.
And then in the theatrical version, my voice, I'm an FBI agent speaking into a walkie-talkie because his mouth is covered, and so I do the voice of the FBI agent.
Then I may have heard you without realizing.
Isn't that funny?
So I heard you without even realizing it. Wow. So my thought about that film, and I would love to get your take now that it's this many years removed. I was on board almost to the end, and then the reveal, like the twist about Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Totally lost me.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Because I was like, that does not make sense given what we see of Ruffalo throughout the entire movie.
Right. Like his attitude and actions.
So I'm hesitant to spoil anything.
Sure.
So all I'll say is the movie shows us scenes where Ruffalo is by himself. Being the Ruffalo who he is portrayed as up until the ending. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, yes, yeah.
So that demolished the logic for me.
Yeah.
But I was just curious if you had a similar thought or if you're just like, no, that makes sense.
No, well, first of all, I'm just too close to that movie. I to really even have a real opinion on it. And I consider the filmmakers friends still to this day.
And the film is very good. I want to couch what I'm saying. It draws you in. And I would absolutely recommend it. However, for me, there was like that one last sleight of hand where I was like, wait, what happened here?
Yeah, well, I what was I going to say? Oh, that's a movie, by the way, speaking of popcorn flicks, I would affectionately call that movie a popcorn flick.
I 100% agree.
Because it's totally ridiculous, but
Yes.
like it's aiming to be silly and heightened and fun and ridiculous and just like a romp. So
And actually, sorry, we're like incepting our conversation. The mark of a great popcorn movie to me, going back to Stargate, the film ends with Kurt Russell. He's fighting one of these Egyptian bird guard type people with a big Anubis head or whatever. And right before he finishes him off, he says, "Give my regards to King Tut, asshole."
it's just a great line.
I was like,
I'm glad that line exists.
I want that line in every movie. I want them to retrofit that into Citizen Kane. I think that should be Kane's final word.
Or I was, excuse me. I was gonna say with Kurt Russell, if they ever do some sort of Oscar retrospective sort of thing, that has to be what it ends on.
Right? In fact, if Ruffalo had said that at the end of Now You See Me, I might have been okay with that twist.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, you were saying. I apologize.
No, oh gosh, it's been so long since I thought about that movie. But yeah, I remember there were some things, that were like possibly a bridge too far, but I don't remember thinking about that.
Okay.
Maybe just because the whole thing is, the magic tricks as action sequences and stuff. And but I totally hear you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you in an awkward position. I apologize.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. It's kind of fun to think about it again. I mean, it was a good time. That was a great year and a half of my life working on that movie.
I remember my connection to that film is you hopping on Mike and being like, "I am so tired.
Oh my goodness.
I just want sleep."
Yeah, I mean there was 2 months. I was in post. I worked on that while they were shooting, so it was maybe like 3 months, and then we were in post for almost like a year and a half.
Yep.
And there was 2 separate months where I worked 7 days a week, like for a month straight, 7 days a week. I remember the Oscars, the Super Bowl, and we'd wheel the television in and we watched it together because we were at work. But it was also a blast. I mean, Louis Leterrier is like a really cool guy, very nice guy.
He's the director.
And the director, sorry, and who just did The Dark Crystal on Netflix, which I hear I've seen the word masterpiece
I'm hearing
in some
really good
reviews.
things about it. Yeah.
I've got to check it out. But he would break it all up by buying us, remote control helicopters and cars and toys, and it was a blast. Like my memory of it now isn't of being tired, but just having a blast on that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
folks,
I'm glad you enjoyed most of it.
I was on board for even past the end. Like I wasn't like, well, F this movie and F the waste of my 2 hours. But definitely that twist was like, it was like the tumblers in your brain start like rubbing up against each other. Like, wait a minute.
Totally.
Yeah, folks, if you want to like dip into the archives, which is not something I tend to recommend, but if you go into like summer of 2013, wait, when did Now You See Me come out?
That came out, like May 2013, I want to say.
So you were working on it like right up to the end, right?
Oh yeah, to the release date. And it was coming out, I remember, against After Earth with Will Smith and M. Night
Yes.
Shyamalan, and we were like, we're dead.
And
And
you
then it
guys
came out and
did
it
better.
topped it. Yeah, and it ended up being this, big hit.
So the shows from like February to May of 2013, you can listen to Brian getting progressively more fatigued. you can follow that trajectory. So
Yeah. Man, I remember the most tired I've ever been, though. I'm glad we weren't doing the show back then, but like 2005 or 6 when I was working on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Oh, like that I remember like driving home and being like, I'm going to die.
and that's you were a PA, right?
Yeah. Oh man, those hours were just like I would get up super, super early, go to work all darn day, like 14, 15-hour days or whatever it was, come home, go straight to bed, wake up and go right back to work. That was a lot.
So now on Now You See Me, you were in editorial.
Yes.
So I would assume part of the reason that Now You See Me was maybe a more pleasant experience overall is because you're doing stuff that's more directly creative.
Yeah, I guess it's so many years later I can sort of talk about it, but they were very cool about letting me have my fingerprints wherever possible. And, whenever they would decide they needed to cut a scene and they needed to figure out a bridge or a Band-Aid, they would let me write some stuff.
Nice.
So that newscast that I read that's in the extended version, I wrote. And actually, some of the conversation with Ruffalo and Melanie Laurent at the end, I threw a couple lines in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you come up with a twist? You're like awkwardly like, really? You didn't like that, huh?
No. But that was like a lot of fun. And I was working, it was the editor. His name's Robert Layton. Great guy. I'm still real good friends with him. He did all the Rob Reiner movies, all the Christopher Guest movies, Stand By Me. All
the stories he must have, right?
And he would just pull me in there and be like, hey, we need to make this thing connect. You want to think of some lines? And it was a dream. It was a dream job.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. That's fun. That's Brian's reminiscing corner.
I wore an onion on my belt, which was the fashion at the time.
It's style at the time. Being 2013 as it was. Yeah.
And there's our Simpsons reference for the episode, so we got
Yes.
that out of the way. Why don't we take a short break while Brian continues his reminiscing, and then we will come back and talk about the Birds of Prey trailer.
What would you do? Brian?
All right, so we're back, and now later this episode we will be talking about the Joker, which, going back to what we were talking about earlier, we don't know. Maybe we'll end up disagreeing on that.
I know, I'm very curious.
For those of you who don't know, Brian and I do not talk about the movies that we are going to discuss until we are on mic.
Yep, and Zachy even texted me and said, don't read my review.
Yeah, specifically.
Wait, how did we get to the front? You sent me an angry face. It was really funny.
Yeah, I
Do you remember?
I said
something about you, or you're like, it's not for you, or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Brian was like, I was like, don't read my reviews. Like, oh, did you post it? I was like, yes, but not for you. And then I said like an angry
face.
You know what?
It was hilarious.
Watching you. So we're in kind of like a Joker-centric space already, and I figure, hey, let's talk about the new DC movie that is Joker-related, but does not actually feature the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Instead,
as far as we know.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe Jared Leto will show up. Instead, it stars DC's Deadpool, Harley Quinn. So this is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Let's play some of the audio.
You know what a harlequin is? A harlequin's role is to serve. It's nothing without a master. No one gives two shits who we are beyond that. The Joker and I broke up. I wanted a fresh start. But it turns out I wasn't the only dame in Gotham looking for emancipation.
All right, Brian. So this is, we were just talking about Suicide Squad. This is sort of like the de facto sequel to Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
It's directed by Kathy Yan, who did a movie called Dead Pigs.
I don't know it.
Which was last year, and I've not seen it, but I heard good things about it. But I think it's notable. Obviously, this is a film that stars a whole coterie of female DC characters. But the Birds of Prey comic book, at least in its initial conception, it had nothing to do with Harley Quinn.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the comic book originally it was Black Canary and Oracle. So Oracle was Barbara Gordon.
Was this a CW show many years ago?
It was a CW show, yes, but that too was very different from the original comic book.
Okay.
So it was so I didn't mean to do this. So there's a comic book back in the late 80s called The Killing Joke.
Uh-huh.
Which you may have read.
I have.
And, that comic book involves the Joker shooting Barbara Gordon, who is Commissioner Gordon's daughter, in the midsection.
Yes.
And she was also Batgirl, by the way. So the comic books, so she's crippled, right? So what the comic books did is they had her retire from the Batgirl persona, and she became Oracle. So she's the woman in the chair.
I see.
Right? And so you had her paired up with Black Canary, who is out doing the stuff, and then Oracle is in her earpiece telling her what to do.
Got it.
So the two of them together were the Birds of Prey.
Okay.
That's how
And
this
so-
all. That's how this all started.
Were any of these other characters that we're seeing in here? I'm looking at the IMDb thing because I don't know. The Huntress and were any of these people associated?
So Huntress got into the mix later, and as far as I know, that was it.
Okay.
Like in recent years, I think they've tossed Harley Quinn in there. I think I don't pay attention to the comics anymore, but to me, they might as well call this Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, right? Because that's
For sure, yeah.
That's what
Which
this is.
I mean, it makes sense.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I said she's DC's Deadpool, I mean, I don't know what better way to sum it up than that, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So you're more of a lay person.
A normie, sure.
You're one of them normies that we talk about occasionally. What's your take on this? We got who's in the cast? We got obviously Margot Robbie's back as Harley. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor is the Black Mask, who is not wearing his black mask, which I find distracting, but that's me.
Sort of like what's her name, Jennifer Lawrence in the X-Men movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta see your face. What are we paying for Jennifer Lawrence if we're not gonna see her face?
That's true.
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, who's another character from the comic books. So how are you feeling about this? This comes out in February.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know a ton about this story or these characters or what's going on, but it was an eye-grabbing trailer for sure. I mean, it's very colorful and it looks like it wants to be kind of bonkers, right? Like we have her recreating the Material Girl music video, and and all that, and I don't really know how I feel about it because there's not like a specific hook that I can go, oh, I want to see it for this reason, but all that visual, fireworks going on makes it like compelling to me because I'm certain we're gonna watch it.
Of course.
So I like that they're making something that feels left of center. I mean, as long as we're going to keep getting movies from DC and Marvel, I don't want them all to look the same or feel the same. So I think it's kind of cool that this one looks like it's trying to be a little more punk rock.
Yes.
So I'm into that. I want to see what that looks like.
I'm curious. I think it's very clear that Warner Brothers realizes they've got a gold mine potentially with A, Harley Quinn, and B, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Yeah. And she seems to be into this. It's not like she's, it takes me back to Elektra, where Jennifer Garner...
Which you also worked on, by the way.
I did, yeah. But she did that because she was forced to. Like, her hand was forced by a contract. But it seems like Margot Robbie, like, she loves this. Like, she likes this character.
She's like a producer.
Wonder's got to be happy about that.
Yeah, it's I love that DC's kind of... They're just kind of like, they're not worrying so much about the universe. Some things are sort of weirdly connected to each other, but they're not tripling down on the connectivity.
Hey, why not? Like, I think it's cool that Joker exists and this Birds of Prey exists. Like, why even try to make them... Why ruin one or the other by trying to make them into some sort of cohesive thing that doesn't need to be?
Doesn't need to be, exactly.
Yeah. What would you think?
It's weird because I feel like it's just not... The movie itself is maybe not aimed at me.
Sure.
Which is fine. I've never been like a huge fan of Harley. Mm-hmm. As you have said in reference to Joker, I think she works better as the spice in the stew.
Sure.
But I mean, I do love Margot Robbie. Mm-hmm. I think she's fun in the role, and I actually think it's the film itself almost exists as a riposte to what was done to the character done with the character in Suicide Squad, and specifically I'm thinking of that scene where she's like undressing, and everybody's staring at her, and she's like, "What?"
Right.
It's very male gazy,
Male gazy, and also she was like a lovesick puppy in that movie.
Yes,
and Joker's just like crapping all over her the whole time, and it's just kind of like, ugh.
That's something I've said. I see this on my social media all the time, where people will post like a picture of Joker and Harley Quinn, like from the comics or the cartoon show, whatever, and they'll be like #goals, like relationship goals.
Relationship goals, yeah.
And I'm like, guys, this is an abusive relationship. There's nothing good about any of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is not aspirational. So I do like that they're clear. They're making a deliberate effort to remove her from being the Joker's girlfriend, and that makes me curious.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ewan McGregor, another trailer just dropped recently, which is Doctor Sleep.
Yes, the sequel to The Shining.
Now, am I wrong, or were they like denying that it was connected to The Shining initially?
That I don't know. Because I know the book, obviously, Stephen King was like, hey, it's the sequel to The Shining.
Yeah.
But I feel like anything I've seen of it recently, they're eager to connect it
Yes.
to The Shining.
Yes.
Because Stephen King famously did not like the film adaptation because
Correct.
it took a lot of liberties with the book.
Yes.
And so I think now the filmmakers are in this funny position where they're like, it is based on the book, but it's also related to the movie you love. You
Well,
know?
let's play some of the audio from this.
When I was a kid, there was a place. A dark place. They closed it down and let it rot. But the things that lived there,
Hello, Danny.
they come back.
So, and it's funny, you talk about how Stephen King was not a fan of the movie. They remade The Shining as a TV miniseries with Steven Weber, who I got to talk about that very film with him on the Nostalgia Theater Show a while ago.
Which I loved. He's a really nice guy. He does voices for Puppy Dog Pals.
Yes.
Very good. And I love that episode. That was a really good episode.
Yeah, and he talked about like hanging with Stephen King and just sort of picking his brain about stuff. So that if you're of a mind to dig into those archives, go to the Nostalgia Theater Show, and you can take in all that goodness. So Dr. Sleep, again, I knew nothing about it except that I felt like they were going out of their way to be like, it's not an actual sequel to The Shining. It's more like a thematic sequel. And so I didn't realize it was so explicitly connected. Where Ewan McGregor is in fact adult Danny.
Yeah, right.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So how you feel
Yeah,
about
what'd you
this?
think?
I love The Shining.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm curious. Like I'm wondering if it's going to be, in our last episode we were talking about 2010 versus 2001.
Yeah.
Another sequel to a Kubrick movie,
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
So I'm curious if this will be a similar thing where it's like it's good, but you have to just put it to one side and not really think about The Shining.
Yeah, I would imagine that. I mean, I was talking with a friend of mine, and he didn't like how, like, just let the magic exist. Like, why do we have to like keep adding to it or defining it? And he just doesn't want to see it parsed, I suppose. I'm game, but I also. I'm also not expecting a whole lot, if I'm being honest.
I mean, Mike Flanagan, the director, has like a lot of horror in his filmography. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's without making any aspersions about him. I mean,
oh no,
it's hard to be the successor to Stephen King.
Yeah, or Kubrick.
Sorry, to Stanley Kubrick, not to Stephen King.
Yeah, I think I thought the concept of villains to people with the Shining ability is interesting.
Yes.
However, I feel like the reason The Shining is so scary is the mood. I mean, it is such a moody movie. The music and everything and all the long, deep shots of the hotel. And I just feel like this movie felt flat.
Yes.
Like what I was looking at felt very flat, and I don't know if that's the digital cameras. I don't know if that's things that couldn't be helped, or if I don't know. So whether the movie, obviously it can never live up to the original, but I hope it can at least capture some sort of mood. But for what I saw, I felt a little at a distance with it, like I was just watching a thing telling me it was scary on screen.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
I'd love for it to be good.
When does this one come out?
Is that this year, or is it early next year? I don't know. I didn't have this trailer in front of my.
It's in like 3 weeks. So. In like a month. It's like November 8th. So just about a month from when we're recording right now.
Oh, all right.
So there we go. That's a coming. So from there, let's switch gears and talk some headlines real quick.
Yeah.
So last time we were talking about how the Spider-Man divorce has been prevented.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for
Disney and
how
Sony came to
long?
an agreement.
Yeah, by hook or by crook, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think we said last time, like, well, we'll probably be back here in a couple of years having this exact same conversation, right?
Probably. Yeah. We were saying it felt like they kind of kicked the can down the road, but we'll be back to this.
We'll be back. But what was interesting is, and this is actually something that I had mentioned. I'm pretty sure I didn't talk about it on here, but online, I was like, when the divorce was first announced, how Tom Holland was in a position where he could potentially have some role to play in preventing it, because he's popular enough in the role that if he's like, look, you guys got to figure this out, they weren't going to force him to do a movie he didn't want to do. And in order to keep him happy, he could potentially get something going.
Yep.
And per Bob Iger, the head of Disney, that's exactly what happened. Is essentially Tom Holland got on the phone with Tom Rothman and Bob Iger and was like, you guys need to figure this out. Which is nice,
I think it's great. And you can imagine, I mean, his Homecoming, isn't that the highest grossing Spider-Man movie of all time?
I believe Far From Home is.
Oh, Far From Home. Okay.
Far From Home is the first.
No, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. The latest one is what I was
They all have
gonna
the word home in the title.
say. Home, yeah.
But there's actually, we have some audio of Tom Holland talking about why he chose to get involved and get this deal figured out.
Oh, wow.
So why don't we go ahead and play some of that?
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
It's powerful.
I can see why they got them to open discussions again.
Yeah. It's a powerful sentiment. So thank you, Tom, for that. But speaking of the MCU, there's still more news because they need more of your money, Brian.
Oh, did they? Well, here, let me open my wallet.
So they just announced an Infinity Saga Blu-ray set.
Which I think we all kind of assumed this was coming, right?
Wait. So this is all three phases up to this point. 23 movies. And it's going to come out just in time for Christmas. It's going to include the 4K versions of all the films. And
4K and Blu-ray, I believe.
all it will cost is your liver and part of your lungs.
Oh, wow. Well, I have two of those. Not
And
the
your liver will
but-
grow back, so
Yeah,
that's no
that's right.
sweat. So this is going to be $550.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is that? That's 20 each or something? Or
I think the
25
math
or something?
actually works out where it's not
Kind of works out,
unreasonable.
yeah.
But there's like sticker shock when you look at the price all at once, where you're like, well, unless that comes with an actual Infinity Gauntlet and the real Infinity Gems,
Yes. yeah.
it's gonna be a hard pass. But yeah, I mean, for me, I own all of them anyway in 4K. So
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet a lot of people have bought many of them already. And plus, I think they're going to be on Disney Plus, aren't they?
I mean, if not right away, they will be eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is sort of almost like a niche shelf item.
Yeah, it's
For
weird
those that can afford
because
it.
the it comes with like a disc of bonus material, right?
Right.
And it's funny because I've seen a lot of people online who are like, well, see, I already own them, and now I'm having to do this because I need that bonus disc. And I'm like, well, first of all, if like anything that would be saved until this point to put on a bonus disc is probably not that bonus.
Sure. I mean, it'll probably be amusing,
Right.
but then when it's over, you'll be like, oh, okay. I saw that.
And number two, I'm like, I think you're misunderstanding what the word need means. You need oxygen. You need water. That's about it. Right?
Yeah. And I wonder if this stuff's eventually going to get all online anyway.
It's all everything. It's like, I mean, we are in the last vestiges of physical media.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think physical media is sort of it's going the way of vinyl.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're upset about Disney charging $550 for this, I'm just going to throw this out there as a novel suggestion. Don't spend it. It's just that easy.
Yeah. That is, you know what? I will say, in sort of a defense of people who are saying that, if you're a fan, of course you want to see that stuff. So it is a little bit of a bummer that Disney would put that behind a very, very expensive exclusive banner. You know, like, I don't know. Like, you just wish they'd just make this stuff available.
Fine. Well, there we go. What else? What else, Brian? What else is happening?
Well, there was an interview between Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese in DGA Quarterly magazine where Tarantino sort of casually let slip the fact that he's working on a novel, which is something. There's been a lot of talk when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out that Tarantino plans to make 10 movies, period, then he's done. And Once Upon a Time was 9, so everyone's like, well, what's the 10th going to be? You're really going to be done? And he's like, well, maybe done with movies, but I plan to write plays, I plan to write books. And it sounds like he is in the middle of writing a book right now. And that's something where I said, I mean, I love his dialogue so much, and even his prose. I mean, his scripts are very prosy. Right. So I was like, if this guy puts out a book, I'm gonna read that book.
Well, the ironic
I got
thing
very
is,
excited to read that.
This is going to be his Star Trek story.
That would be interesting. No, you know what it's about is about a guy who is a soldier in World War II, and he comes back home and finds that he doesn't respond to films anymore because he's lived all this real life carnage in the movies. You know, he feels like they make light of everything, or they don't capture the gravity of real life. And so then he discovers foreign films. And so that's the thing we got. It was a little snippet because he was just explaining it to Scorsese. So I don't think it was intended as an actual pitch, but I was like, hey, I'm into it. I'll read it.
Well, Tarantino's on his way out, and I don't know if you heard this. Another indie filmmaker who came up at the same time, Kevin Smith, who we've talked about occasionally on this show. Mm-hmm. Did you see he announced yet again that they're doing Clerks 3?
Clerks 3, yeah, and apparently, because he was talking about that years ago, but apparently this is a whole new iteration. Like, he wrote a Clerks 3, and he's like, it's not that one. I've started another Clerks 3.
So the holdup on the previous version is that Jeff Anderson, who plays Randall.
Yes.
Randall, right?
Yep.
Well, he was for whatever reason he was a holdout.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith was like, well, I'm not going to do it without Randall, and so that kiboshed that. But now apparently they've come to some sort of agreement, and now yet again he has announced that Clerks 3 is coming.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the original Clerks, and there's no way you can't make Clerks without Randall. Like, Randall is so funny, his voice. And so, and I wasn't crazy about Clerks 2. We've talked about this. I mean, however, we both love Kevin Smith, and I'm just happy he's doing his thing. So, I mean, you know, he had his heart attack a little over a year ago, and I think that gave him a new perspective on things. It's helped him to reconnect with some friends that had become estranged, and I wonder if maybe that has something to do with it too, or, you know, they're like, hey,
he made a comment. He says, after mending fences with Ben Affleck earlier this year, I was hoping for a chance to do the same with Jeff. Mm-hmm. So huge thanks to Lilu Multiprops for getting us all in the same room. But the biggest thanks ever go to Jeff for being receptive to the idea at all.
That's cool.
It's, you know, I think echoing what we've said previously, it's like, it's even as I think you and I both have sort of gradually moved out of the demo that would be hugely excited for a new Kevin Smith movie. Mm-hmm. I love that he's just out there doing his thing. Yeah.
Yeah. He just seems like a nice guy who means no harm, and I'm happy he's able to do what he's doing.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I hear some music, and I think that means we have some Star Wars news.
That's right. That's right, we do. And it's funny because Star Wars news used to have everything to do with movies, but now it feels like we're mostly talking about television.
Yes.
Right?
Although it wasn't yesterday or like earlier this week, Force Friday?
Oh, yeah. I don't follow that a whole lot. That's like the big toy release, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, look at this. The goods will go on sale October 4th for the marketing bonanza known as Force Friday. And it's weird to me that it just kind of came and went and nobody gave a crap.
You know, I I don't know. I don't know what that says because I think half of Star Wars was merchandise for a very long time, right? And
Yes.
it seems that the merchandise is becoming more and more
Whatever.
for a certain party that's interested in that thing. But most people, I think, even interest in the movies, you can sense this little bit of a battery drain on it.
Yes.
I think people, once it comes here, everyone's going to go see it and hope it's good. But there's no buzz. I don't feel any buzz for it right now.
I truly don't. I truly don't. Yeah.
So it's it's
And you know what? To your point, it really does feel like people are more excited for Mandalorian, more excited for Obi-Wan.
yeah.
This other stuff. Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I wonder then, yes, if this whole where you used to be able to make an event out of a toy release,
Yeah.
and then now people are like,
That's a shame.
yeah, I don't know. Time marches on, I suppose. As
Yes.
long as I am looking forward to the shows though because I feel like that is a way for them to keep this universe fresh.
Right.
Maybe the movies aren't feeling as fresh for people, but this whole Obi-Wan thing, I think almost everyone seems Star Wars fans are on board for this, and apparently. What I'm seeing this story through, I don't know where you saw it, but Josh Horowitz talked to Joel Edgerton,
Yes.
and he said that he was being coy and evasive when mentioning if he'd be involved with the Obi-Wan Disney Plus series, which he took to be as sort of a way of him not being able to say that, yes, he will be involved. So
Right.
returning as Uncle Owen, because he played
Yes.
Uncle Owen in, what was it? Revenge of the Sith.
In both Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, yeah, he's in Attack of the Clones too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that movie's forgettable. But anyway. Yeah, Dogsbury, old junk.
But that's cool. I really wonder what the story's going to be, but it's that's interesting, Uncle Owen being a character again and Obi-Wan on Tatooine. And
Well, back
I'm
in
into it, man.
2015, I interviewed Edgerton because he directed and starred in the movie The Gift.
Yes.
And this is before Force Awakens even came out, and I asked him then. I said, "Would you want to come back?" And he's like, "If they can, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do it. I'd love to do more Adventures of Uncle Owen." So he's been waiting for this phone call, for a while. If he's back, and it makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I think it's cool that these people had positive feelings for it, when they want to be back. Even
Yes.
Ewan McGregor, which you, speaking to him
Yes.
months and months and months before this,
Yes.
you asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm on board."
Yeah, and that was a funny one because that was one of those things where I was like, I don't want to ask him, "Hey, you're gonna be back as Obi-Wan," because I'm like, everyone on Earth is probably asking him this for the last 4 years.
Yep.
So I was like, how can I tease that out of him while addressing Star Wars in a broad way? And just Brian being very candid, that is one of my proudest moments in doing press junkets and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that specific my interaction with Ewan McGregor about Star Wars?
Would you set it up with your kids being fans?
Yeah, so
Which is very clever.
I was reading a book. I told him this. I was reading a book, a Star Wars book to my kids, and there was a picture of Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan, and there was a picture of you as Obi-Wan. And I was like, my kids look at you, and they're like, that's Obi-Wan, and they look at Alec Guinness, and they said, that's old Obi-Wan.
Right.
And I was like, for all these kids, you are Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I was like, that's got to be a pretty cool feeling. And then he just took the ball and he just ran with it. So he was very happy to talk about it, which is nice.
That's great. I love that. I love when people are, sometimes you see these actors and you ask them about past things and it means nothing to them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to, but it's a little disappointing as a fan, right? So when you see someone like Ewan McGregor tickled by this stuff, like he likes it. He thinks it's cool. That's
Right.
always really fun.
Yeah, and I think the way he spoke about it, which I think is very heartening, is he's like, there was that moment where everyone was just shitting all over him, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I guess we just failed. We didn't do what we were." And then in 20 years, you have a whole generation of kids who just unabashedly embrace those films, and so like the audience that they were intended for has in fact responded the way they were hoped for.
Yeah.
It's nice. This series is going to be 6 episodes, I think, right?
I think so, yeah.
I'm curious, like, how much finality they intend to weave into it. Like, is this meant to be Obi-Wan's last ride, or are they hoping to do more,
Yeah, because I mean, if it succeeds and everybody likes it, and they show up to Force Friday again because of this show alone,
Yeah.
you want to keep it open.
Exactly. I'm wondering.
Yeah.
So that is our Star Wars news for this week.
Yeah.
We may get possible buddy adventures of Obi-Wan and Uncle Owen.
That would be interesting if they had some sort of history, and that's why he's like, stay away from him.
I was thinking
He's
exactly that. I was like, if you lead up to a place where there's, maybe Owen tolerates Obi-Wan sort of hanging around, and then at some point he's like, all right, you got to leave us alone,
Yeah, like you're bringing danger and whatever to this boy I said to protect. So we can't have your own.
I feel like, Brian, some of that stuff was covered in the comic book series that Marvel's doing, which is considered canonical.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how this show would intersect, if at all, with the stuff that's already out there.
I don't know.
I'm wondering if they're going to reach that point where their whole like, oh, everything counts. Like at some point, if they're like, nah, it actually doesn't all count. Like
I know, because it seems like they're putting out a lot at once, and then they're eventually gonna step over each other, and
exactly. All right, so let's take one more break, and then we can come back and talk about Joker. And we're back, and the Joker is back, or at least an incarnation of the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
He's in theaters right now. He has made $94 million for his opening weekend.
The highest opening weekend of October.
Yeah, well, the previous record holder was Venom a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a market for movies based on arch enemies of comic book characters.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
I mean, you after this weekend, you have to wonder how many more villain movies are going to get. I guarantee. Here's my prediction: a Doctor Doom movie is for sure advancing through the development pipeline right now.
Do you think, though, that being a Marvel character, do you think they care about trends, or they're like, no, we got a plan, we're good?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think here's my
I take
thought.
your meaning though, and I think you're right.
Here's where I'm coming from. I think that first of all, Doctor Doom is like the most iconic Marvel villain from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
More than Thanos, more than anyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there have been so far 3 live-action versions of Doctor Doom, if you include that unreleased Fantastic Four movie, that have all been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, how do you fix some of that damage? You don't introduce Doctor Doom in a Fantastic Four movie. You introduce him in his own movie.
Right.
You call it Doom, and you lay that in place as something that sets him up as the overarching big bad for one of the next Marvel phases.
Yeah, I can totally see it.
Right? So that's bear in mind my predictions. About 2 years ago, I was like, never will the Joker movie be made, Brian. Mark my words. Right. As surely as man will never land on the moon, there will be no Joker movie.
Which is weird because you said that in 2014,
I did.
the whole moon comment.
Yes, I am unstuck in time. So, all right. So Joker is out. Joaquin Phoenix is already garnering a lot of Oscar buzz, and Todd Phillips is, I'm sure, very happy to have established himself as a quote unquote serious director.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, he made the Hangover trilogy, Old School, a lot of those
gross out comedies.
Yeah, like early 2000 comedies. Yeah.
Yes, which he has stopped doing because, according to him, comedy is beset by wokeness.
Yeah.
Which that's an entirely separate conversation, which I suppose may come up during the course of our discussion. So you and I, as I mentioned earlier, have not talked about it at all.
No. I have no idea what you think of this movie.
So here's what I think, Brian. Should I tell you what I think?
Yeah.
I liked it. And I say that exactly that way because a lot of the early reactions were like, "This is a modern day masterpiece."
Yes.
And then a lot of the not seen it at all reactions were, "Oh, this is the beginning of the end of Western civilization."
Yes.
Right? The conversation surrounding this film has been absolutely obnoxious. So I really, as I mentioned up top, I had to just sort of put all that stuff on mute and just go into the movie and experience the movie as it is. And I think it is quite good. It has a really good performance. I don't think it is revolutionary in that I'll tell you, it felt to me, I felt a little bit like I did when I watched, and stay with me on this, when I watched Super 8.
Okay.
In that, I was watching somebody do a very skilled imitation of another filmmaker.
Yep.
And so I appreciated the craft that they put in, but I was still like, yeah, but it's still just a version of that other thing.
Yes.
And that's what I was. So there's novelty in, oh, look, it's like a Joker version of Taxi Driver. And, oh, look, we've got, Gotham City in a version of King of Comedy. And I'm like, that's really neat. That's clever.
Mm-hmm.
But it is still that to me. That's all. That's what it is. It is a version of that story told through this prism. And I'm like, I can appreciate it for that.
Sure.
And I would absolutely recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some of the reactions are overly rapturous, which is fine. I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm so curious to hear what you thought.
I liked it too.
Okay.
I think we're probably on the same page.
Really? Are we really?
Yeah. It's so funny. Like when I was walking to the theater, I'm just like astounded by the whatever you want to call it that was conjured up around this movie and its opening.
Yes.
People just already had really, really strong opinions about it, whether or not they had even seen it. And it was dangerous. It was like a dangerous movie.
Yes.
Like I felt like I was walking into something dangerous, which is so weird because I can't remember the last time I've ever felt like that.
And honestly, Brian, I'm wondering if Warner Brothers wasn't slightly happy to have.
I totally agree.
Right.
Totally agree. And so, yeah, I thought it was pretty good actually. Cause it's my really short take. We'll get into the nitty gritty, but I feel like the first act was really good. I feel like the third act was very strong. I feel like the middle, I think they wouldn't have lost anything if they'd taken about 10 minutes out, maybe.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, even like 10, 15. Like it felt a little, I don't know, indulgence, not the right word, but it was very enamored with itself in the middle. And, but yeah, overall, I mean, it took me a minute. We were actually going to record this the other day, and Zachy's like, yeah, let's do another day. I'll give you like a day to sit with it. And I'm glad you did, because when I walked out of the theater, I didn't know what I thought. It was just kind of a lot. And it had a lot to do with people's, you couldn't help but have other people's sort of opinions in your head. And even thinking about this is a movie, it is a dark movie. I mean, you are
very much so
with the bad guy the whole time. So yes, you are in the bad guy's head. And I think that was the concern of a lot of people is this movie sympathetic to him? And I don't think it is.
No, I agree with you. And I said this in my review. I'm like, if you walk out of the theater being like, yeah, right on, the Joker gave people what they deserve or whatever. I'm like, you brought that into the theater with you.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And by the way, it does get a little delicate, and I've seen people say this, and I think it is worth mentioning. I mean, he clearly is someone with mental health issues.
Correct.
And so I think where it can get a little dangerous is you don't want to say that mental health equals delinquent behavior, because that's absolutely not true. But
which I think the film does a good job of being like, it's like this weird mix of it's a little bit of this plus a little bit of this plus a little bit of this is what led to this.
Entirely agree. I entirely agree. I feel like the movie is not glorifying him.
No. Yeah.
And I feel like when I walked out, I didn't feel great, because we just spent time with a bad person. And I mean, we'll get, I don't want to get too into it, but I mean, yeah, I mean, this is all about him. So it's unusual when you're watching a movie about a person, because you just naturally sympathize with whoever the main character is.
Right.
But I feel like this movie did a good job of, anytime I started to kind of like him or sympathize with him, he'd do something off-putting and remind me that I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Which I thought I was like, I thought that, so it did keep me personally at a distance with him. And I think another thing is, is, you know, people are trying to make this seem like this is like the darkest movie in years, and maybe it is. I don't know, but I don't know. Watching Game of Thrones, man, that's way darker, you know, and
Right.
way more
Literally
sadistic.
darker. Like
Literally darker, but it's more. I think it's more sadistic.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it wants us to revel in the sadisticness of it more than this movie does. I think what makes this movie feel uncomfortable for a lot of people is the fact that it is a superhero movie. So it's a character. This was something, I forget where I read this. I'm paraphrasing someone else, but they said, oh, Todd Phillips said this. He said that Warner Brothers was like, you know, this character's on kids' pajamas, right? You know, and then they turn. So I mean, that's weird.
and they're like, so good luck with this. You know?
So I understand people's uneasiness with it, because this is a character who sometimes is in cartoons for little kids, and and then this is a movie that is absolutely not for kids.
Here, you know, and just to pick up on what you're saying, I think what the film does very smartly is, in fact, this kind of picks up on what we were talking about with the last Rambo movie in our last episode, right? Like, there's a notion that audiences have of righteous vengeance, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you push a character up to a certain point, we as the audience will go along with what they do in reaction, right? But what the film does, in my opinion, and you tell me if you disagree or not, is, yes, it has our lead character as put upon and a victim of society and everything else, but when it has him react, he reacts so beyond the pale that you're like, whoa.
Yes.
You know, it's so beyond what would have been potentially justified.
Yes.
Right? And I'm thinking of specifically two scenes, which I'll get into after the spoiler, but one is in his apartment and one is on a TV stage.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, it's like I want to say more, but I guess I don't want to tread into stuff that...
Well, so it is a thumbs up from the both of us if people are listening.
Yeah, but with it, I will throw out a asterisk and say that if you think this movie is going to make you uncomfortable, like, it might. You know, I mean, like, this isn't... Just because it is starring a mainstream character that we all know, this is a dark movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, it means to be. Right? So just because it's like a character you know who's typically in these sort of fun PG-13 versions, like, that's just not what this is, and it may not be for you.
I agree. I mean, that R rating ain't for show, folks.
Yeah. But the reason I say that I think it's good is because I think it was well made. I think he gives a really, really good performance, and I think at the end, you still are never going to understand entirely what's his head, but I feel like it put me in his universe for a minute, and I saw it, and I didn't like it because it makes me uncomfortable. But I was like, wow, they did it. Like, they made me sort of, for a second, see the way he sees things, and I don't agree with it, but that was kind of an interesting character study.
It was an interesting digression.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of a shame, too. Todd Phillips has said that he doesn't intend to make sequels, and, you know, he never sees this linking with any of the other Batman movies. And I was like, man, I kind of want to see Batman meet this guy.
I do and I don't. I'm of two minds. I mean, I think this movie does such a great job of sort of doubling back on itself, where it makes you doubt pretty much everything you see.
That I have some thoughts about that and spoilers for sure.
Well, you want to get into spoilers?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Spoiler.
So I mean, just to start at the end first, the very last scene of the film, where we have Arthur Fleck, Joaquin Phoenix in an institution, one could make the argument that the entire movie is in his head.
Yes, because, I mean, we're in spoilers now. We find out that, you know, he has this... Throughout the movie, we see him in this relationship with this woman that we come to find out isn't real.
Yeah.
Right. So then now we have to question everything. Like, was all of this a fantasy? Even when at the end,
and we established even earlier than that, when he fantasizes being, you know, embraced by Murray Franklin, Robert De Niro, right?
Yeah.
So it's the pitfall of an unreliable narrator.
And even at the end, when the crowd was all, cheering him on, he was dancing on the car, I was like, is that in his mind? Yeah. Like, I believe the riots were real because the effects of it, we know, are part of Batman lore, but I thought he might be seeing it through his own lens where they are lifting him up.
Yes.
Whereas in real life, they might have, like, not even noticed him.
Yes, I agree with that, yeah. And it almost makes sense. Like, why would this random car hit that police car? And, like, how would they know that the Joker was there? You know what I mean?
I thought about that, too. It felt too organized. The second it happened, I was like, how did they know to hit that car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's something I appreciated about the film. Because from the trailer, we see Thomas Wayne, and he's kind of like, we see him slapping Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing that. Like, it's like the mirror image version where Thomas Wayne is a bad guy and he's a good guy,
Mm-hmm.
But watching the film, and feel free to disagree, but I was like, I didn't think Thomas Wayne came off like a bad guy in the film. I thought he came off like a normal guy. I mean, he's not always pleasant, but the way in which he acts is entirely acceptable within the framework of who he is, which is like a guy who's concerned about his child or about his city, and this weird dude keeps harassing him,
Yeah, that seems really creepy when he's at the gate with young Bruce.
Right, and that butler is Alfred, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember his. I just want to say real quick on that note. I remember he's on a talk show and he's talking about the disparity in Gotham, and I don't remember what he says. If it seems,
yeah, you know what he says? He's like, because the host is like, oh, these people they don't want. It's either in reference to him or like people who are wealthy in general, like, oh, they're against you, and he's like, I don't know why they're against us. Like, I'm trying to help them.
Mm-mm.
Right, and I can appreciate sort of a blinkered perspective where you actually believe that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
It just comes from a place of ignorance as opposed to malice.
Right.
And I remember early on that they had talked about Alec Baldwin playing that role.
Yeah, right.
Do you remember that? And they were like, oh, he's like a Trump-like character. And I'm like, I'm glad actually Baldwin didn't do it, because I think that Baldwin being in it would carry that baggage with it. And I actually I appreciated the characterization of Thomas Wayne. And we're sort of used to like saintly Thomas Wayne, if at all,
Yes.
And this was a little more textured, but it's all within the framework of like he's like a guy who is worried about his kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, my point is this: like there were layers here that ensure. Because here's the thing: you have to feel bad when the Waynes get killed.
Yes.
So that when you think about it, that moment still has to be tragic, and you can't feel bad if he's just a total dick.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right. Now that said, I think the way in which, and obviously you and I both come at this as Batman fans, so I think again what I said before about the novelty of like, oh, and hey, this is Arkham Asylum. Like to me, hearing Robert De Niro talk about Gotham City. Was just very surreal. Now, granted, Robert De Niro has appeared in some of the worst movies of the last, 15 years. But there's still something about one of the greatest actors of all time existing within a comic book film realm,
Yeah. And jumping ahead to that moment then.
Yes. You're talking about the talk show. when
the talk show at the end.
Yes.
That scene where and not even the act. Not even the moment where he shoots him, but when he's behind the curtain,
yes,
and the curtain opens, and he walks out in that makeup and sits on this 1970s Johnny Carson-esque. I was like, this is like a top 5 moment of the year for me. Like, this is haunting.
It's so unnerving because something's going to happen.
Something bad is going to happen, and they lead you to think that he may shoot himself.
Yes,
but
I'll be honest, I did not expect. What happened at all. I did not see that coming.
Unfortunately, I feel like I'd seen people comparing the movie to Network.
Oh, interesting.
So I had a feeling, I just knew something bad was going to happen. But just that scene, before we even get to that, like that was a lot and, scary and whatever and well done. But the moment with him sitting there with his legs crossed with that makeup on and that normal woman guest next to him and the talk show host, I was like, this is making me feel stuff. Like, this is really uncomfortable. But it was so well executed.
It was so unnerving. To me, it's not merely the shock of when he shoots De Niro in the face, and then he gets up and he just unloads into him. Mm-hmm. Right? And,
yes.
And this goes to what I said before about, like, righteous vengeance. It's like, well, that was so beyond the pale of acceptability given what he was responding to, which is, oh, he made fun of me on his show.
Yes.
Right? And so that type of thing prevents rational people, I hope, from being like, oh, well, he had it coming.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I pray.
Right? Yeah.
I pray. Yeah.
And same thing with, I think the guy's name is Randall, the coworker who, like, dropped a dime on him and got him fired, right?
Yes.
And
That was, I'm becoming more squeamish the older
Yes.
I get.
Yes.
And I'll admit, I looked away during that moment. I didn't want to see it.
it was rough. It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I watched it with a preview crowd, you know, and it was like uncomfortable laughter because there's like, it's like the big guy, and then the little person who's with him,
Yes.
and he's trying to. It's like a thing where you're laughing not because it's funny, but because you don't know how else to express this.
You're
tension.
letting out. Yeah.
You know, which is entirely appropriate because that's literally the condition that Arthur has in the film.
Can we talk about that?
Yes.
So good.
The laugh.
You know what I liked about it was he sounded like he was in pain,
Pain.
when he was
Exactly.
laughing. And so, especially like when he's on that moment on the bus and the woman tells him to stop talking to the child.
Yeah.
And it's like he's laughing, but then there's like this at the end of it. And I was like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
And same
it was-
thing when he's doing the stand-up.
Yes. Yeah. Like, it's, man, I get it. I really do want to say, like, I can appreciate people that aren't going to like this or it's going to make them uncomfortable. And it is unpleasant.
Yeah.
But I think it was very well done. I think it's a really interesting, all these decisions were very interesting and well executed.
Yeah. And,
That laugh, man. Oh,
I think, and this going back to what we were saying earlier, this is why, in a sense, I don't want the world of this movie to extend beyond the final frame of this.
because then you sort of, what am I trying to say? Like take the horror out of it or something. You lighten it. Yeah.
I just, you know, it goes to like the character on pajamas. This is not the character on the pajamas.
No.
And once you have him, you know, setting a trap for Batman, you've taken that away. You know.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I think now going back to what keeps me from being, you know, just over the moon about it, masterpiece the way other people are saying, is to me there's an artifice around it, which is Philip striving so hard to be 1970s Scorsese.
Sure.
You know, my friend Mel Valentine put it in his review. He's like, he went full Scorsese. Never go full Scorsese. It's kind of funny, you know. And so for me, I'm like, well, because of that, you're like, oh yeah, no, I get it. It's a Taxi Driver reference. No, I totally get it. Yeah. And the
Yes,
movie's like,
yeah.
no, look, it's a Taxi Driver. King of Comedy. Yeah, you get it. Look, here's Robert De Niro. You get it. You know.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, all right, yeah, no, I get it. You know, and that's why I have the same reaction as I did with Super 8, where I'm like, I appreciate the craft, but I think the film itself is not as original as the filmmakers want us to think.
I agree with that.
You know,
But
but that
I still
doesn't
stand
make
by
it,
my feel. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to finish that thought, that doesn't make it any less of an engrossing experience. So I want the totality of what I'm saying to be clear, that I did like the film.
No, me too. And I think I still stand by my feelings about the second act, where I feel like it lost a little bit of urgency and got a little bit like enamored with itself.
So you're talking
its-
about the stuff where he goes to Arkham, he finds out that his mom is kind of cuckoo bananas, and
Well, I was
he's
okay with that
adopted.
because that was moving the plot forward. But like, I feel there was just I'm seeing a lot of people really loving his sort of dancing and sort of like the alien looking nature of it and just how weird it is. And I appreciate that. I really do, because that is him finding himself in a way.
Yes.
But I feel like the movie just was so in love with some of these really lingering moments that somewhere in the middle, I was wondering, I was like, what are we doing? Like, where's this going? And I found myself thinking that a little bit. But I will say, I do feel like it all came together in the end. But I feel like it didn't have like a snap all the way through that it could have.
Yes. Well, I think
mean, that's
once
just,
he
you know.
once he puts on his final Joker makeup,
Yeah.
from there to the end, it's just rat-a-tat-tat.
Yeah, and I did like the I like the reveal when he goes to Arkham and steals the stuff and finds out the thing about the mom. I mean, that sucks. Like that
Yeah.
that's part of the layers where you're just like, this guy, man, like he's just got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that, by the way? It's I think intentionally ambiguous, the relationship between his mother and Wayne all the way up to the end. Because that picture is what really threw me off. When it looked like he had sent her, or he had that picture and signed it on the back, something about her smile.
Yeah, see, that's what leads me to believe that. I mean, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it him being nice, right?
Sure.
He's being because the message itself, it's kind, but it's not necessarily
Overtly romantic.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think this is what I'm saying, right? Like the movie ends with the ritual sacrifice of the Waynes.
Yes.
This is why I think if that's our ending, the movie is pointing its way towards there will eventually be a Batman, right? Now we know that Batman's parents are sanctified.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what leads me to believe that Thomas Wayne did not in fact have an affair with Penny Fleck. Because do you get what I'm saying? Because the movie itself is still telling us this is a tragedy that this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say, oh, he was unfaithful to Bruce's mom, by the way. But anyway, he's still got to be Batman.
Sure.
That becomes iffier. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So that's my reading. But the whole movie is sort of soaking in nebulousness by design, right? And so I mean I think there's enough vagary there that if you want to be like, oh, it says that he had an affair. I think that reading, there's validity to that too. There's nothing definitive. They're not gonna lay it out there, you know.
Right.
It's by design, but it's like I said to you earlier. I mean, the mere fact that Thomas Wayne is portrayed as, you know, not the villain of the piece ultimately, says that he probably did not have that affair. That's my opinion.
As long as we're talking about the Waynes and Bruce and Batman and everything, I saw this thing on Reddit. There was like a big spoiler thread. And I really like this. I was going to try to say this person's name, but it's really hard. It's like PRSTGS_chaos.
Well, there we go.
But anyway, I like this. He said he was saying that he was glad that the Joker didn't kill the Waynes in this movie. And he said, I love that it wasn't him. It just solidified that he corrupted the city. I feel like without addressing it too ham-handedly, they showed that while the Joker is insane, Bruce learned something from him that night. The power of a symbol cannot be understated in a city like Gotham going through such an impressionable time. So he would go on to do the same as Batman.
That's interesting.
I like that. I mean, like the whole clown masks become a symbol of rising up, of anarchy. And so little Bruce learns the power of a symbol through that. And I was like, that's pretty good.
I do like that. I also like the symmetry that in Batman 89, the Joker is responsible for Batman. And in this, Thomas Wayne is in some ways responsible for the Joker.
Yeah.
So it's all connected. You know, it's funny because the Joker and Batman, and you and I have spent an inordinate amount of time on this show in our commentary tracks talking about the Joker and Batman, because we did The Dark Knight, we did Batman 89. They are interlinked in this way that elevates them to truly mythical characters. Like their rivalry is one of the great rivalries of Western literature, right? And so we see all these types of stories that are able to mine that, and it tells you about how beloved and embraced both of these characters are, that you can do a story like this. And the vast majority of non-comic book fans will understand all the references because all of that stuff has become shorthand. Like when the Waynes are killed in the alley, I guarantee you that every single person in the audience knows exactly who they are and who that little boy is. Right? And how many other comic book characters can you say that about?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's a really good point. And I think, well, okay, so let me ask you about this, because I've seen this as a criticism. some people have said that they feel that the whole Gothamness of this movie felt forced. Right? Like Todd Phillips really wanted to make a movie about a damaged person, but the only way he could get it made was to make it about the Joker, and so everything that had to do with Batman, Gotham, what have you, felt unnaturally attached to it. What was your feeling on that?
I mean, honestly, I don't think that's an invalid critique.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have. I mean, the reality is this is a business, right? So if you say Joaquin Phoenix is Arthur, right? That's the movie, Arthur, right?
Right.
Well, how many people are going to watch it, right? You put the title Joker on there, suddenly, I mean, that's just, would it have made $94 million if it was called Arthur?
Right. Yeah. Well, no. And I agree with that, absolutely. But I also, I think it's valid if people feel that way, but I was like, no, I don't know. I mean, being a fan of Batman, I thought, I don't know. It didn't feel unnatural to me.
No, I mean,
like it was shoehorned in.
Well, it's like I said to you before. I mean, I think there's very few other characters in the comic book canon you could do stuff like that with. You know, I don't think there's anyone in the Marvel universe you could do a story like this with, you know? Mm-hmm. Not in this way where you displace it from the current day milieu, you put it in some other era, add in a few keystones to let you know where we are and what universe we're in, and just let the story unfold. I don't think you could do that with just about any Marvel character. Mm-hmm. But it says something like Batman transcends any one canon. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's a whole, I mean, since the late 80s, there's been a whole run of one-shots and limited series called Elseworlds.
Right.
Right, which is like, oh, here's Batman in Victorian England, and he fights Jack the Ripper.
Right? Okay.
And you can read that book that has nothing to do with current continuity or anything else, and you'd be like, wow, that was a really good Batman story. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Here's a Batman story where, Dick Grayson becomes the Joker, right? And that's actually a terrible story because it's The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which goes against what I was saying. That's like the terrible Frank Miller sequel to The Dark Knight Returns.
Okay, sure.
But my point is, the character allows for this. Like, people will be like, "Oh, that's a little weird." Okay, sure.
Right.
And you'll go
right. And we
along.
have such an understanding that they can twist it, and we would understand the twist.
You can contort it like taffy, and at the end, it'll eventually come back to whatever is "quote unquote" normal.
Right.
Like, we know that the Matt Reeves Batman movie will have nothing to do with this. But, look, I mean, this is... And the Joker more than most. You know, we were talking about the Killing Joke at the beginning of the episode. In that comic, right, which is about the Joker's origin, right? Joker says at the end, he's like, sometimes I remember it this way, sometimes I remember it that way. I like my life being multiple choice. Mm-hmm. And how perfect for the Joker, because we've had the Jack Nicholson origin, we've had the multiple Heath Ledger origins, we've got the Jared Leto origin. And yet they're all the Joker. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? They're all, you still, like, every single one of these, whether you like some more or less, obviously Jared Leto is like a TBD, but you're not like, well, that's not the Joker. That's my point.
Right?
You're like, well, I don't like that take on him as much. Mm-hmm. But it's all the Joker, and I think that says something about this universe. I said before, like, oh, I think there's going to be this rush now to see what other villains they can do something like this with, and I'm like, I think it's a pretty short list because I just don't think there are characters like the Joker that allow for this type of thing.
Yeah,
like if they did Brian, if they did Lex about like Lex,
right.
Like a Scarface type story about Lex Luthor,
right?
I mean, I'd watch it.
Sure. right.
I don't think as many people would, because I just think even Lex Luthor does not have the iconic significance that the Joker does.
Yeah, I agree.
So there.
Well, I have a couple more moments I wanted to bring up that I
Yes.
thought were interesting, just sort of randomness. Well, one wasn't random, but when the gun falls out of his pocket when he's in that children's hospital,
Yeah.
I think I made a noise. I'm like, no!
Right?
Like, oh my, that was so uncomfortable. That was a good moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the film does a good job of having you on his side up to a point.
I agree. They keep, like, almost daring you to
Yes.
sort of sympathize with him, but then he'll put you off.
Well, Brian, I mean, let me ask you. I think, and this is a key moment, which we just glossed over, the scene on the train.
Yes.
Now, that to me is one of those things where if it was just that first guy, we might have been okay with it. If it was just those first
in
two,
movie terms, yeah.
right? If it was just even those first two, maybe. But when he chases the third guy down,
Yes. Who's
and
pleading for his life, crawling away.
yes, and
You're
then
like,
he shoots him
ugh.
multiple times in the back. He empties a clip into him. At that point, you're like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully.
In theory, I know this is all theoretical. We're sort of assuming decency, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is risky. But I mean, that was a lot of the chatter. Oh, this is like a recruiting commercial for incels. Which incel, I guess for people who don't know, that's, what is it? Involuntary celibate?
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, this is people who basically are unable to find a relationship, and so they blame other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's like a whole thing online. I mean, I think, and this is something I've only recently come to realize, there is, sit down for this one, Brian, the internet's a pretty messed up place.
What?
It's true. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
But, one of my students brought up a movie that came out this same weekend called Cuck.
This weekend?
It opened like the same day as Joker.
Okay.
And that is, in fact, about an extremist loner guy who lives with his mother. It's and that's more the type of thing people were worried about,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to see it, but
No.
I just don't think this is that. You certainly don't walk out of the theater being like, all right, let's go kick some Batman ass,
Yeah, and I can certainly say that I think some of this discussion that is happening around this movie is worth having. It's worth thinking about.
Yeah.
And the examination. But I just feel like it's unfortunate that all these real world things can possibly be attached to art. Right.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm trying my best. I am recognizing it, but also at the same time, I'm trying to just look at this as a story.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you can't do that these days. I have no idea, but just,
here's the problem. There's a political angle that's being attached to this film that doesn't line up with what's actually shown on screen.
yes, where you could possibly assume it may be before it came out, but I have seen a lot of people be like, yeah, I saw it, and yeah, I guess it isn't the way that I thought it was.
Right.
Which is, I don't know, interesting.
I mean, people are like, oh, it's like right-wing propaganda. And it's like,
Right.
well, first of all, that's stating right-wing ideology too broadly. But second, if anything, the film is like left-wing propaganda because the guy would have benefited from social services and from like
Right.
a less of a divide between the wealthy and the poor. Like it,
yeah.
and if anything, that would be a critique of mine, is that the sort of the larger intent is a little bit muddled.
Yeah, it feels like a bit of an afterthought to give a dynamic to the city.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
but-
have another moment I'm curious about.
Yes.
What did you think about him getting into the refrigerator?
I was wondering about that. First of all, I was like, if you get in, can you open it? Because I was always told as a kid that if you get in a refrigerator and the door closes behind you, you're going to die in there because you'll be stuck.
Yeah, that was like a big 80s fear.
Wasn't that a weird 80s fear? Yeah, specifically that.
I thought about that too, actually.
Because, it's like you go to your friend's house. It's like, hey, what do you want to do? I don't want to get in a refrigerator.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, that was, remember Back to the Future, that's part of its lore too, where they thought about using a refrigerator as the thing, but then they decided they didn't want kids getting trapped in there. And I feel like, I was just talking about this with someone, I think that did happen to a kid. That's probably where it started. And then there was a whole episode of Punky Brewster.
I was just thinking about that.
Yes, about a kid getting in the refrigerator.
No, it's her friend. It's her
yeah,
neighbor.
so it was like preaching the perils of kids don't get in refrigerators.
I saw that episode and I was like, well, note to self, don't drink rat poison. Don't get in refrigerators.
Yes.
Those are two things I learned at an early age. I don't know. I don't know why that was in there.
Yeah, I don't either. It's interesting. I don't know. I did think it was a chilling performance.
Well, here you could make the argument that he goes into the. Oh, okay. Sorry, I just got that. Sorry. Wow. That was good. That was good. That was funny.
It wasn't worth it.
You
Go
just
ahead.
wove in. Was this just for that? Was this?
It may have been.
This
But I did actually, I did, when I walked out, I wrote down, usually when I see a movie and we're going to talk about it, I'll sort of talk to text into my notes about the things I don't want to forget. And I wrote down moments I didn't want to forget. And that was one of them.
Okay.
Along with him walking into the door at the hospital.
See, if you said, oh, that was a funny moment too. I like that.
Yeah.
If you said it was chilling,
Oh, yeah, Mr. Freeze.
that would have worked.
See, now that would have been in the realistic, grim and gritty Mr. Freeze movie where he gets in the refrigerator.
Yeah. See, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're waiting next year. Freeze.
Freeze. Yes. Yes.
One could make the argument because doesn't he gets in the refrigerator, and then the phone rings, and it's, oh, hey, this is Murray Franklin. We want you on our show. So one could make the argument that he died.
Wait, that happened at another moment where he was in bed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, I just remember because I was like, is he like touching himself back there? 'Cause that's weird. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Now that you bring it up, yeah.
Yeah, because then I was like, that'd be weird as an actor. That'd be weird as as the sound guy. That's just weird.
Okay, so then because I was thinking that you could the idea of Murray Franklin calling him to be on the show, that itself feels like something out of a dream, you know?
It does, yeah.
So I mean the movie does a pretty good job of covering its tracks as far as what it wants you to think of as real and not real. Mm-hmm. I think.
Well, speaking of, so let's talk about Zazie Beetz.
So that was that twist worked.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because it was one of those things where once it was revealed that entire relationship was fictional, in hindsight, all the pieces fit together.
Mm-hmm.
They did not do the Ruffalo thing, for example. Like if we have a scene where Zazie Beetz is by herself, she's like, I just love Arthur. He's just such a nice guy. She's talking to herself.
No, no, you're right. It was a surprise to me. Well, and I started thinking, wow, this movie is really giving that character short shrift. I don't understand how she likes this person.
Yes.
Because he just seems so uncomfortable. And that moment too, where she says she's glad that those guys died on the subway. I was like, really?
Yeah.
But that's
right?
his projection of what he would want her to say.
Well, and to me, that moment when he's sitting in her apartment and she's like, "Are you Arthur from down the hall or something?"
Yes.
I was like, "Oh!" So I was like maybe 2 seconds ahead of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, all right," and I did a little golf clap in the theater for that.
Yeah. No, I thought that was, yeah, I was surprised. It got me.
It was a good twist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, good.
No, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we missed talking about.
Let's talk about the ending, the last scene where he's talking to the worker in Arkham.
Yeah. See, so okay, and this is nice because this is where we started. So full circle. To me, where he's like laughing, it's like, what's so funny? It's like, oh, I just thought of something funny. To me, the joke of it is a potential interpretation is that he's imagining a world where he lives in our world, and he's like, wouldn't it be funny if I was the guy who caused the beginning of Batman?
That's pretty good. You know, I for a moment when he chuckles and he says something about the joke, and she's like, well, what's the joke? And he's like, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
I almost was like, ooh, cut to black.
Yeah, I honestly, I think they should have.
You know,
That thing at the end where they're chasing him around, I didn't find that necessary, in my opinion.
I can go either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that would have been a brilliant last line for this movie.
Oh,
but then when he's walking, and it made me uncomfortable because then he's walking down the hallway and he's got blood on his shoes, and I was like, ugh.
Yes.
You know, and I didn't like it. And then he's being chased by the guards and whatnot. And then I thought, like, oh, he's the Joker now.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, you just can't leave this guy alone, and he's running around and making everything crazy for everybody else. Because at first I thought it was interesting. I mean, I was thinking about this when he's sort of the more nebbish, insular sort of guy. I was like, this guy isn't capable of being the Joker. But then as he grows into himself, he becomes, like with that moment on the subway, right, where he figures out how to get off the train, takes the mask. He becomes a bit more quicker and clever. And seeing him in that last moment, I was like, oh, he's the Joker now.
Yeah, so that's why for me, I think one interpretation is that because he's picturing Bruce Wayne and that's the joke, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, in the world of the film, he has no way of knowing any of that because he wasn't there for any of that. The only way it works is if he's imagining a meta narrative, including a narrative where, oh, that's how Batman became Batman.
Wait, what is he picturing again? I'm sorry,
He's picturing like Bruce Wayne in the alley with his dead parents.
That's right. It goes back and it does that shot from far away where it's pulling backwards.
Exactly.
You're right.
So how would he know that that's Bruce Wayne's origin, Batman's origin, right?
Yeah.
Unless he lives in a meta world where, it's like I was just saying, everyone knows Batman's origin.
Yes.
And he's imagining, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I was the reason that Batman was created, you know? Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that's the correct interpretation, but I love that that's one possible way of looking at it.
It allows for it. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in the film that disallows that, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so hey, thumbs up for the Joker.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get why it's not for everybody, and I want to reiterate. I mean, just because it's about a Batman character, like it's an unpleasant movie.
Yes,
but I thought they did a lot with what they had. You know, they really crafted an interesting story that's probably not going to make you feel great, but I thought it was pretty well done.
You know, I remember when we were talking about The Dark Knight, I said that the Heath Ledger Joker makes the Jack Nicholson Joker look like the Cesar Romero Joker. Yes, and I'll just carry the ball a little further and say the Joaquin Phoenix Joker makes the Heath Ledger Joker look like the Jack Nicholson Joker.
Yeah, sure. I mean, by the way, not to say that one is better than the other,
no. In terms of just plumbing the depths of darkness in the human soul.
Yes. You know? Yeah, my brother and I were just talking about this because he just rewatched Batman '89 for the first time in years, and he was saying, you know, he's like, well, I like all of them. He's like, I like that the Nicholson Joker is kind of hammy. I like that the Heath Ledger Joker is kind of a mystery, which makes him uncomfortable. And so I still stand. I like all of them. I don't think any of the others cancel the other one out.
I agree. Batman is forever, and so is the Joker.
Yep.
And I think that is a good place to leave this discussion. What do you think?
Sounds good. This was, hey, we did it. I was dying to know what you thought.
I was genuinely curious. And sorry, folks, if you were hoping for this to be the one where we're like throwing shit at each other through Skype, it didn't happen. We ended up kind of in the same place.
Yeah.
Not intentional. Mm-hmm. It just kind of happened that way. But hey, maybe Gemini Man will be the one where it all breaks down.
It could be. Now, by the way, did you know this movie is one of those 60 frame per second things?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, I just heard that. I think it might even be more, like 120, but some theaters are only capable of 60. But if I can, I missed that with the last one Ang Lee did. I'm very curious to see what that looks like.
I'm seeing a press screening this coming week, so that may end up being a high frame rate. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. But I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Either way, that will be the focus of our next conversation, and we will also be back with our commentary track for First Blood, the first one.
Yes.
Movie. So both of those things are coming. Brian, I'm assuming things are proceeding apace at Puppy Dog Pals?
Indeed they are. They're continuing to air, and we are continuing to write. So Disney and Disney Junior, check it out.
Well, there we go. As for me, you can find me at my website, Zackie'sCorner.com. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my Twitter. That's also my Instagram. And you can also look for my articles at the San Francisco Chronicle, including my upcoming look back at Stargate. And if you haven't already, please check out my reminiscence about The Shawshank Redemption. That wraps up episode 183 of the Movie Film Show, but we'll be back soon. And until next time, if you have any questions or comments, please hit us up at our email address, moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page and message us there, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. And of course, as always, go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. And with that, thanks everybody for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.